I probably would do without a slide. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Amita. I would do without a slide. My apology. I've been traveling, so but let's go ahead with the presentation. So thank you, the session chair and the executive chair of the CBER, Dr. P.R. Datta. My distinguished guests, the online and offline participants, and this is a hybrid model, and I guess the abstract is already shared with all of you, and this is about, the title is the experiential economy. The metaphysics that teaches you reality, existence, and the nature of being. Hope I am audible enough. And there are some very key components in this experiential economy, which itself is a very new concept. That product is not the physicality of it, but the experience of observing the product. So it looks at across the entire value chain, and that's something that we'd like to go through in this discourse. So here I go in the, and this is actually an extract of the book that is coming out in 2 months' time. So this is one of the chapters of the book. So we expect this book to be out sometime next month. It is already delayed. So in the age of the commodity and its exchange value, can the experience have an economic value? That's a very kind of a thoughtful and engaging, pondering questions. So this is perhaps where we have historically failed to recognize, since the days of the Adam Smith and David Ricardo or John Locke, has failed to account for this in his quantity theory of money, in which he affirms that the amount of money in circulation is directly proportional to the general price level of the goods and services. Another economist, John Maynard Keynes, has failed to factor in the experience in his notion of aggregate demand as a primary driver of the economic activity. So the notion of the experience did not occur to even David Ricardo when he propounded the theory of comparative advantage, which advocates that the nation should specialize in products producing goods where they have a relative cost advantage and trade with others to maximize the economic benefits. Same the case with the Alfred Marshalls, who use a Caesar's analysis as a demand and supply analysis to integrate both supply and demand forces to determine the market price, but missed out the experience altogether. So all these economists viewed either the good or service as a commodity, not the experience of this. So what is this phenomenon called this experience economy? The perceived value of a certain good and service is the notion of an imagined experience someone will have upon the consumption of the same good or service. Either the good or service is nothing in itself if dissociated from the experience. In any manner, the consumption of the good and service can change our lives is an experience, a life lived through this act of consumption. Post-consumption, this is the experience that lingers. So how the experience cannot have the commodity value? So I've looked into these questions a little more deeply. Our perception of a commodity, if we loosely claim this to be some form of a perceived wealth, has evolved over the centuries. The physiocrats, so this is the Halle School of Economics, a school of economics which was founded in the 18th century in France, believed that land is the source of all wealth, hence the government policies should not interfere with the operation of the nature of the economic laws. The opposite group, the mercantilist, regarded the manufacturing and the foreign trade as a source of creating wealth, which accrued in the form of coins and bullions. Thus, they advocated that each nation must regulate trade and manufacture to increase its wealth and power. So there are a lot of underlying phenomena in economics that cannot be explained. no one has explained how Adam Smith's metaphor of the invisible hand operates. In economics and other social science, the concept of the invisible hand has been used to explain a variety of phenomena, including the division of labor, the creation of the medium of exchange, the accumulation of the wealth, the patterns such as the price labels that appear in the market competitions, and the institution and the laws that govern society. More controversially, the invisible hand has been used to support the claim that the best social and economic results are produced by free markets, composed of individuals acting in their own self-interest. According to Smith, the division of the labor is a gradual result of natural propensity to chop, barter, and exchange one thing for another, rather than the products of foresight. He outlines how price influences people because the supply commodities generally keeps up with the demand. He describes how people reacting to and trying to succeed in their own local conditions give rise to the patterns of the business, including the general development of the wealth. Smith doesn't intend to imply that economic agents are self-serving. Even he calls them self-interested. So instead, then being driven by a more generalized idea of a public good, agents are instead driven by beliefs and intentions that reflect their local knowledge of specific concerns, particularly those pertaining to their families. So in this entire discourse, there is an underlying experience. As each task is undertaken and it is made to fructify. So there is an experiential economy for the consumer as he or she consumes, but there is a score of other kinds of experiential economy preceding this, starting for sourcing of material, the labor employed to save the material, the market forces employed for its distribution, so on and so forth. So the experiential economy is more a continuum. This is to say a unified pattern of recording a commodity's life in progress, the interrelated stages and classifications. The experiential economy is in a continuous influx, changing over the time. And it's a whole made up of many parts of but as you sum up these parts, it changes the whole initially conceived. Hence, experience economy is so difficult to measure. However, even economic experience sounds as the proverbial holy grail, it possibly can be better understood if not measured. Experience economy is a natural regenerative process emanating from a cerebrum, which then translates into a conscious thoughts and actions. Consumption of a commodity experience may vary from a social actor to another, but there are agreements on some common experience. These agreements can be aggregated to conclude on some economic experience of commodities. So this is already happening. And thanks to rating, review, analysis agencies and platforms, they all are doing it. And however, these experiences have been viewed merely as a reflections of a commodity, but not the commodity itself. There is a certain economic opportunity cost we invest in living through the experiences in the process of consumption of a commodity. A top corporate executive embarking on a 7-night cruise, finally sacrificing his 1 week salary, can be the cost of getting that commodity experience. If there are 1,000 people availing this cruise service in a year, we can sum up their opportunity cost and average out to arrive at the cruise commodity experience cost. Now the cruise company can start selling this at a putative opportunity cost. However, the experience economy is more complex than this. In the chain of the progression of the economic value, we have crossed many stages of extracting commodities, making goods, delivering services to reach the point of staging experiences. The staging experiences is something which is very elaborately discussed by many economists, and there are many recent papers which have been published on staging experiences. One of the pioneers of this is that Joseph Pine and the James Gilmore, in their thought-provoking article, Welcome to the Experience Economy, in the Harvard Business Review, affirmed that from now on, leading-edge companies, whether they sell to consumers or business, we will find the next competitive battleground lies in staging experiences. They go on to write, to realize the full benefit of staging the experiences, however, business must deliberately design and engaging experiences that command a fee. These transitions from selling services to selling experience will be no easier for established companies to undertake or whether the last economic shift from industrial to the service economy. So this is all about the Joseph Pinto and Gilmer and James Gilmer. This is a published article which I accepted from the Harvard Business Review on staging experience. And experience occurs when the company intentionally uses services as stage and goods as props to engage consumers in a way that creates memorable event. Commodities are fungible, goods tangible, services intangible, and experiences memorable. So economics understand the numbers. The quantitative data is better than the qualitative data. How do we map the experience since qualitative data is called abstract? The Motion Picture Association of America founded an index called the CARA, C-A-R-A, the Classification and Rating Administration, to rate movies to help parents decide which movies are appropriate for their children. If the parents, together with CARA, shape the commodity experience of their children, the constitution of the CARA board is made up of an independent group of parents who provide advance cautionary warnings about a movie's content. So most parents would concur with CARA's views. CARA aims to assemble a diverse group of individuals from different geographical regions, ethnicities, backgrounds, to ensure that a wide range of the parental perspectives is represented. So the identities of these rating board members are kept confidential to prevent the outside influence and maintain the integrity of the rating process. This anonymity allows the board members to rate the films without external pressures from the studios, filmmakers, and the public. This diversity helps to reflect various opinions and sensibilities that exist across US board members, usually serve for limited terms. So this rotation ensures fresh perspectives and prevents any single member's viewpoint from dominating the rating process over a time. New board members undergo training to familiarize themselves with the MPS standards and rating criteria. They use a combination of personal judgment and specific guidelines to assign ratings, considering themes like language violence, sexual content, drug abuse, overall tone. So this is quite a way of staging an experience. So this is something that I thought that, it's very relevant to the current discourse of the experience economy. So you really can, this can really serve as a case study. So similarly, in this analysis and the quantification of the abstract, there are many market consumer behavioral research companies that are producing a large number of qualitative data, covering these qualitative data into, converting this qualitative data into quantitative data through coding, groupings, conducting employing mixed methods research. So today, IoT, Internet of Things companies with artificial intelligence can design and stage experience at multiple levels: interactive games, internet chat rooms, and multiplayer games, motion-based simulators, and virtual reality. Imagine when you can design your experience and get this delivered in a certain way, even those complex and unique experiences, the experience of work shadowing. Work shadowing is something that the immersive work experience that allows an individual to observe a professional while they do their job. A transformative experience, which can radically change the experience in both a personal and epistemic way. A certain emotional experience, such as the mental experience of falling in love in a certain way. Experience can be multi-layered, and this can be the moot point here in this experience economy discourse. If the experience, this can form a mental simulations, is all that matters what we do with the physical commodities and those elaborated services which can be more economically designed to create the same stimulus. James Wallman, a cultural commentator and a trained forecaster, captures experience in his own way in multiple writing. So he's a sector specialist on the experience economy for the UK government. And his particular books, two books I would refer is one can look at is the Stuffocations. Stuffocation spelled S-T-U-F-F-O-C-A-T-I-O-N. Stuffocations, Living More with Less. And his second book is Time and How to Spend It. The 7 Rules for Richer and Happier Days. The first book explores the idea of decluttering and embracing the experience over the material possessions. So his work advocates for a shift away from the consumerism towards a more meaningful and mindful lifestyle, reflecting the slow moments, focus on quality and quality over quantity. So Workman's founded WXO, World Experience Organizations, aims to service and expand the experience economy, raise awareness of outstanding experience design, foster connections and thought leadership among the industry pioneers. So in the experience economy, companies offer clients unique experiences rather than just products and services. Unlike products and services, experiences are valued based on how successfully they are used. Getting an Uber to beach is a service, which is an experience. Companies should offer distinctive experiences by offering distinctive experiences to their clients, businesses, and can set themselves apart from the rivals. People can be inspired to participate and develop empathy among the immersive experiences. In experience economy, the greatest currency is the memory that lingers long after the moment fades. Moment is moment of the consumptions. The Workman's opinion of the experientialism is focusing on having nice experiences instead of on acquiring more stuff. In experience economy, the journey outweighs the destinations and the process becomes the product. Wallman argues that experiences are more likely to make happy because we are less likely to get bored of them, more likely to see them rose-tinted glasses, more likely to think them as a part of who we are, because they are more likely to bring us closer to other people and are harder to compare. The experience economy thrives where the emotions meet commerce, turning moments into currency. I would like to say that, but the line between the experience and the non-experiential products is a very hard to draw. Does a non-enlightened modern consumer not have a pleasant experience every time she walks into a room in her view of a libertine? Ask Stephen Folds, I'm quoting him in his book, To Order the Suffocations. He says, indeed, does the commodification of the experience in the fast growing experience economy not prompt us to wonder about a possible difference between experiences one buys and experiences one doesn't have to? Nevertheless, we do not know who is winning or losing the argument. Losing the argument, the concept of the experience economy is going to live on. The experience economy transforms transactions into memories, making this more intangible, unforgettable. Economic experience is a form of social conditioning that we must understand, where the engagement with the products is shaped up by multiple existing social patterns and structures, including cosmopolitanism, nationalisms, and the manifestations of the consumerism in the form of the malls or online marketplaces. Education, employment, entertainment, media, popular culture, politics, ideologies, religion, spirituality, family life, social culture, and cultural identities such as gender, religions, race, caste, subcultures, all have a bearing on this experience economy. These all shape our experience economy. The experience is further defined by various social phenomena, including social norms, customs, power relationships, social change, disruptive technologies, and cultural rebellion. Companies staging this experience less care about the nature of the experiences as long this stage experience results in repetitive buying of the products. These companies would not like to sustain this experience in the manner that is beneficial for them, but also they would like this experience traveling through the feedback loop, either reinforce or alter the social patterns and structures. So we have witnessed to the happening of such things. The exponential rise of the sale of the Coke is directly proportional to the popularization of the Santa Claus as a cultural icon. Santa, earlier a strict-looking patriarch who rendered an image makeover by the illustrator Haddon's Sunblom, who was commissioned by the Coca-Cola to create a series of new Christmas advertisements. So the new iconography portrayed Santa as a genial, gleeful character with flossed and ruddy cheeks, a white beard and twinkling eyes and the laughter lights. It is this Sunderblom's drew inspiration from the 1822 poem by Clement Clark Moore, A Visit from St. Nicholas. Contemporary known this as "Twas the Night Before the Christmas." So among those earlier depictions of the Santa, there were tall, gaunt man and elves. Some looked frightfully intimidating, but looked how there's the image makeover, and it actually changed everything. The way even we consume this something called the Coke. AS Fast Batch, and I'll conclude now. Who and Ben Cooper and other companies began mass producing the Halloween costumes in 1930s. And this happened as a trick or treating become popular in North America. So the process of companies creating this stage experiences is also making the former perceived as cultural symbols more than just products. Today, companies are building iconic brands that become symbols of culturally diverse groups, especially after these companies succeed at imbuing the brands with symbolic meanings that resonates among these multicultural consumers. Carlos Torelli and Hin K and Chi Yu, these are the authors who actually developed a discourse on brand symbolism and cultural identity. Can brands be turned into symbols of cultural diverse groups? If so, how can this be accomplished and maintained over a time? They asserted that the answer to these questions can be found focusing on the cultural symbolism of the brands and on the relationship between cultural values of the consumers and the culturally relevant associations of the brands. So in the situation of the regenerative economy, an economic system that aims to restore and renew the environment and society in which the circular economy finds its mooring. The experience economy affects all the participants in the economy in the way the regenerative economy could create various social platforms and structures. So what you feel now, worth more than what you own. In experience economy, satisfaction lies not on selves, but in the moments. Consumers must realize that the brands thrive by offering memories, not just merchandise, as the richest lives are measured by experiences, not possessions. The currency of the experience economy is emotion. Value is not a product, but in the story it tells and make you feel the same. Ask any die-hard traveler, he or she will tell you that memories are the most enduring souvenirs, not that what they have bought. These are millions working on the product innovations today. And they must know that the emotion is the new innovations. The more senses you engage, the deeper impact you leave. So this is where I conclude my presentation on the experience economy. Thank you. Thank you very much.